Good morning. Good morning, everyone. My name is Vamsi Kolluri. I'm a senior program manager with Microsoft in the Digital Security and Risk Engineering organization. I lead the enterprise phishing protection program for Microsoft.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Blythe Price. I serve on Microsoft's Digital Security and Risk Engineering Education and Awareness team. My job is to bring awareness to our internal community about security risks and best practices. And Vamsi and I are excited to be here this morning to tell you about our anti-phish program. I'm sure that most of you have heard the statistic that 90% of data breaches begin with a phishing email. So it's a well-known problem that's growing not only in frequency but also in sophistication. And so the good news is that Microsoft is fighting back. We're taking steps to safeguard our company's data and our customers' data. The issue that we're faced with is that there's no simple fix or silver bullet to this issue. And so our program takes an end-to-end approach that includes 3 core elements, which are protective controls, monitoring, detection, and response, as well as user education. I'll turn it over to Vamsi to cover the first 2 core elements, and then I'll end with user awareness.
Thanks, Blythe. Before I start with this content, I just wanted to quickly all let you know that this is not a product pitch. We are not trying to sell any of our products. This is just the way that we do things at Microsoft. And we are here to talk about how we run our protection program for phishing. So the funnel that you see over here talks about how the mail flows through our system and gets filtered through the various controls. So there are 2 broad categories of controls that we have. The first one is the mail flow protection controls. These are the ones that actually help filter malicious or unwanted email from the system. So this could be like spam, spoof, phish, malware, impersonation, bulk, etc. Now the email, depending on the policy that it's actually hitting, it could either end in the user's inbox, it could go to junk, or it could go to quarantine. Now, after the mail has hit the user's inbox, we still have additional controls that are protecting the users, like our safe links, which is the time of click protection for URLs, and our zero-hour auto-purge controls, which actually help remove any unwanted email or malicious email that have become malicious after the delivery is done. So this is at a high level how mail reaches our end users. Now, this is awesome, but let's say the end users, because of their the user awareness campaign that Blythe is running, or because of their knowledge around suspicious mails, they just identify something as bad, and they want to report back to our security analysts to take for them to have a look at it. So they can use either the report message button that's available in Outlook today, or they can go to our intranet site where they can go and report a security incident and say that they received a phishing email. All these alerts go to our security analyst queue in the Security Operations Center. Now the analyst will validate the email for its content and make sure that it is really a bad email. At this point of time, depending on what happened because of this phishing email, there are different types of remediation activity that happens. Let's say there is an account compromise. The analyst goes to the Azure Active Directory or whatever it is and resets the user account. In the other instance, it could be a flatten and rebuild for the device in case if it's a malware that is downloaded on the user's device. They also search the entire tenant for malicious email and purge it out of the tenant so that there are no other users who are also affected. So during this entire process, we have our machine learning models, which are continuously learning from this exercise, and they keep improving our protection story as the next time there is a similar email that flows through our system. However, at Microsoft, we also believe in assume breach, right? So whatever you do, there will probably some email that will get through your system and it will reach your users and they might click on the link. And you should be prepared to handle such a scenario. So we also deployed defense in depth mechanisms to protect our users. Namely, we have our multi-factor authentication deployed to all users at Microsoft. This helps us protect against any identity theft. Then we have, again, the endpoint protection controls as part of our M365 suite that is deployed to all endpoints at Microsoft. And last but not the least, we also protect our core infrastructure and the administrators who are operating these infrastructure using our just-in-time access and also secure admin workstations. I'll hand it over to Blythe to talk about our user awareness program.
So similarly to our program approach with multi-levers, we have to do the same thing with education. Of course, it's important to do simulations, but you've got to do much more than that. And so in the interest of time, I could talk about our training program for 45 minutes to 60 minutes. I'm just going to give you some tidbits on things that we found most valuable and impactful that you may or may not have heard in a regular education awareness pitch before. So. As I said, doing simulations is super important. Making sure that you're not only doing regular simulations for your employees, but also very important is your executives. They're targeted the most and they work really fast. But while you're doing that, don't send them mails that are easy, blurred logos, misspellings. You need to match the test mails to the sophistication of what we're seeing in real life. If you don't, your users will never experience what a sophisticated mail will look like. And so this will kind of level the playing field for them. And then also, when you're getting ready to plan your simulation, make sure you're thinking about all the angles of the data that you want. So what questions are the board of directors going to ask us? What will executives care about? You need to have data to be able to answer those questions. And then also, how do you want to do planning for the future? Do you want to look at risk from a high-risk individual perspective? Do you want to look at, employee job disciplines or titles? And so pre-planning what data you want out of your simulation will help you to set it up properly, whether you have to upload custom fields or whatever it may be. And then, simulations are always about testing the users for the most part, but actually what happens is you also test your system. And when I say system, I mean the people within your system. And so you'll get observations on how your support channels or help desks are responding, also your reporting channels, what kind of guidance are they getting, what kind of user experience is happening. And so it's a great opportunity to identify risk in terms of, are we giving people the right guidance? Also, what gaps do we have? Are people following the process that you prefer them to do? And then also, you're going to have chatter. The first time I ran a simulation and I saw an internal, on Yammer actually for us, someone posted on Yammer, they're phishing us. And I thought, oh my gosh, they just hosed me. My data's no good. But actually the reality is that's a really good thing. The conversation, whether people are sounding the alarm about your actual simulation or not, is driving awareness. And so, again, the gut reaction is to kind of be a little bit upset about it, but really it's great. And the idea is that they would do this very same thing in a real life scenario. So try to focus on that. And then also, again, with simulations, let's be honest, when someone clicks on something and they know that it was sent by their company and they know I clicked on it, they're not in a great place to absorb information. And so what you really have to do is follow up with in-depth training. And the best option is if there is security training that's mandatory across your company, be a content contributor for that. And that will give you an opportunity to really give them some tips and tricks that they can use aside from, like I say, the blurred logos and so forth, like looking at who the sender is and so on. So, and then also, within those modules, it's easy to remind people that phishing is not just an email thing. You can talk about, delivery through text messages and the voice phone calls that we've all been getting. So you can introduce these other methods to them in a more direct way than you can through a simulation. And then always keep the conversation going. Simulations and training, once or twice a year is not enough. Have posters up across your campus. Do blog posts. Bolt on to other awareness campaigns that you're doing. For example, within October, it's National Cybersecurity Awareness Month, so you better bet that one of the weeks we'll be talking about phishing. So just keep that conversation going. And then the last thing is reporting. For us, getting people to recognize the phishing is great, but most importantly, people have to know what to do in the event of one, and that is, ideally report. And so first, make sure everybody knows where to report. If you can have a centralized reporting mechanism, that's the best approach. Everybody knows to call 911. So you want to use that same drumbeat approach to bring awareness to how to report, and you want to weave the reporting into your training. So when I run a simulation, the learning moment pops up. It reminds you, hey, if this happens, you report it to whatever your internal channel is. And then with reporting, once they get there, you have to make it quick and easy for users, or else they'll abandon ship. If they get there and then it's complicated, it's taking some time, they'll think, oh my gosh, is this worth my time? And then you may be missing reports out of that. And so once you kind of built this reporting culture, you're going to get a ton of information about different things that you're seeing. So you want to use those real life reports to inform what your next training steps are. So if you're seeing trends in phishing with attachments, then make sure your next simulation includes an attachment, and then also weave that into your extended training as well. And then some lessons learned for us is I can't bring home enough that you've got to have multiple touch points. That's what's really going to make the big impact and difference for you. And then second is for me as an education person, I always remind myself that I'm a user advocate. And so Vamsi's talking about a lot of the tools that we use, including our reporting tool, as well as safety tips or safe links. You have to make sure that those tools work for the users. They understand what the content means. They understand, how they should react. So you've really got to be a user advocate and be involved in the process of rolling these things out to your users. And then last but not least is with reporting, you have to close the feedback loop with your users. So make sure they get something back when they report that says, hey, thank you, you did a great job. This was in fact a fish, or thank you, this wasn't a fish, but we appreciate it. Giving them that good job will reinforce the good behavior that they've done. They did the thing that you need them to do. So you want to encourage them. If they don't hear anything back, they won't come back and do it again. So if you want people to report, you've got to incentivize them and encourage them.
Thanks, Blythe. So to add on to the user awareness piece that Blythe was just talking about, there are some other controls that you can also deploy to increase the drumbeat around user awareness. So things that we are doing within our organization are we are trying to deploy external tag. So when there is an email that is coming from an external sender to our employees, we add the external tag to the subject line. So with this, the employees know that this is an email that's potentially coming from outside, and I should be mindful that this could be a suspicious mail. I should be more mindful of the links that are there in this email before I click anything. So that's one of the things that we are trying to do, and we are in the process of rolling out that particular feature. The other thing that you can also do is, actually this is built in Outlook, the latest version of Outlook. So if there is there's a spoof email that is coming into your organization, the icon for the user will change to a question mark. This indicates that this user who is trying to, if he's saying that he's Satya Nadella and he's trying to send an email, but he's indeed not Satya, the photograph will indeed change to a question mark. This will tell users that this is a potential spoof, and you should be mindful before responding to this email or clicking on the links. So those are some of the additional things that you can do to increase user awareness in your organization. From a protective controls, just like Blythe was talking about, user experience is very, very critical, and it's very important. So when you start rolling out policies within your organization, you don't want to go and junk and quarantine some genuine mail for users. And that can be a horrible experience for them. You really don't want to do that. So when you start rolling out features, it is not an overnight push for everyone. You should roll it out in smaller rings. So when we did this deployment within Microsoft, we started off with a limited pilot of 50 people. And then we expanded it to our immediate organization, which was like 500 folks. And then we scaled it up to 2,000. And then we scaled it up. And eventually we went all up Microsoft, within 4 rings or 5 rings. So you should do a ring-based deployment. So after you deploy to each ring, just be mindful of the support calls that come into help desk, any escalations that you see, data that you're seeing in your dashboard around the emails that are getting junked or quarantined, and then filter your policies. You should continuously fine-tune the data, fine-tune your policies based on the data that you're seeing. Assume breach, we did talk about this one. You should always assume breach and have other controls deployed along with whatever protection controls that you're deploying right now. And last but not the least, the baggage. So when you embark on this journey, you will acquire baggage. That is a known thing. You will have a lot of exchange transport rules in your organization. You will have a lot of whitelisting that you created, exceptions. Be mindful of that and continuously audit them for, if they're still valid, right? We have recently noticed that some of our exchange transport rules are not really valid anymore. And, they can actually cause more harm to us than what they're helping for the business. So you should look for those kind of exchange transport rules and continuously, validate them and remove them if you don't need them any longer. From a detect and respond perspective, this is my favorite. So we have 20 billion events flow into our security operations center every day. we have a security analyst team that's probably 20 folks. 20 billion events for 20 folks is just a lot of stuff. Nobody can humanly just look at this data, right? And we have 16 dashboards. We cannot ask our security analyst to look at 16 dashboards and 20 billion events for a security incident in the organization. You should have a proper SIEM in place and have all the data flow into your SIEM so that there is one pane of glass for all your analysts to go and look at and understand if there is something wrong that's happening in your organization. This does not have to be only with phishing incidents. It's true for any security incident. You should always invest in end-to-end automation. So we've been talking about how there are 3 different types of remediation that we do, like resetting the user passwords, or flatten and rebuild machines, or cleanup activity. You should invest in end-to-end automation. That's how you're going to reduce your time to respond for any phishing incident. And last but not the least, system readiness. So Blythe touched about this particular thing during her talk, but you should also look at making your SOC team always ready, right? The next time when you do a simulation, don't tell your SOC team that, hey, we are doing a simulation. Just send out the simulation mails and see how they respond and how much time it takes for them to respond. Because tomorrow when there is an attacker who's sending out those phishing mails, he's not going to tell your SOC. So always invest in if not a quarterly exercise, at least do an annual exercise for your SOC team. And we do that regularly at Microsoft. So these are the lessons learned that we have from our journey. What I can say in closing is that this is not a one-day effort, and this is not even a one-month effort. This is an ongoing journey. Think about this as a multi-lever program, and that has to be an ongoing service within your organization. Thank you all for giving us this opportunity and staying here during the speech. If you have any feedback, please go to this session eval and provide us your feedback. We can open it up for questions now. We can also stay beside the booth. Okay.
Yeah, you talked about the ability to have the photo change.
Yes.
If the email's not coming from the actual person, can you talk more about how that's achieved?
So the way that we do it today is we have the email flow through Exchange Online Protection, then it goes through Office ATP, and then it hits our end users. So in the ATP control stack that we just talked about, there is a spoof filter. So as long as an email hits the spoof filter, then the icon would change to the question mark. It is automatic. In the latest version of the Outlook that is actually currently being rolled out to all people across the globe, this is automatic.
Vamsy and I will be around. If you guys have any other questions, we'll be over in the CSEO booth.
Thank you so much.